Welcome to Equity in Focus. I am your host, Kevin Hooks. I am so proud and honored to be here today with our featured guest, Mr. Randall Cottrell. Good morning. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
So before we get started, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, what you do, and we'll get started and we'll go from there.
So a little about myself, father of five. That's my most interesting feature right now. Three boys, two girls. Been married 17 years. Entrepreneur for life. I heard a radio show one time. This guy on the show was like, he asked the other guy, "What's your definition of an entrepreneur?" And the other guy goes, "A guy or a girl who has a unique distaste for being manipulated or controlled." I screamed when I heard it on the radio. I knew that was me. I have a unique distaste. So, but yeah, my business is primarily it's based on one thing. It's one question. Somebody asked me, "What do I love?" one day, and after I had built a business in IT, I'd done some other stuff. This guy asked me what I love. He was a pilot. I said, "Man, I love aviation." He's like, "You need to do it. I'm not telling you to shut down your IT company, but I'm telling you, you need to do what you love. You're at that point in life where you got to make that switch." So I did, cold turkey, and I've never looked back. It's been phenomenal. So I do a lot of defense work. So I'm a prime with the federal government.
But before we get through there, though, we can't gloss over the whole early days. So family,
Early days, okay.
where you from? Where'd you grow up? Let's talk about.
Oh yeah, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay, from the South.
Yeah, from the South. It's a town that I hated. As a kid, you don't know. I hated it when I left because I was like, "Man, it's a terrible place." Recently started to go like, wow, there is something there to this place that has a significant history. But yeah, from Montgomery, dad was in the military, uncle was in the military, so I saw a lot of new places, but I went a lot of places. But yeah,
Outside
from
the
Montgomery,
U.S. or mostly U.S.? Did you travel around the world?
all U.S., all
Okay.
U.S. Yeah, I grew up there, moved to Birmingham, Alabama in 1997, and kind of finished high school here, and just started life here. Moved around a little bit on my own, and then eventually came back. I will tell you, there's a significant life experience that I had in Montgomery. I never want to gloss over. So I've been around airplanes since I was like 9, 10 years old, and I won an essay contest one day, and the winner got to fly with Chuck Yeager. He's the guy who broke the speed of sound. So it's like major. He flew the Bell X-1. So yeah, I got to fly with this guy. And actually, there's a picture I put on LinkedIn. My wife found the certificate in our files, our personal files, and it was pristine. It had never been bent, wrinkled, anything. And it's me flying with Chuck Yeager as a
So what was
kid.
the essay about?
Man, it was about why I love airplanes.
Wow. And so from that to meeting one of the most, I guess, remarkable individuals probably since the Wright brothers.
I think he's the most remarkable guy. Yeah.
That's amazing. So is that what then you knew it solidified your desire and interest in the space?
You know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know about solidifying then. I didn't know that I could solidify. And because my parents have always allowed me to be in new spaces. And, I just don't know. I didn't know how valuable they were, these spaces. So now I know, yeah, you get into an awesome space, you solidify it, you bite down. But I noticed that it never went away. I got into the Civil Air Patrol, which is like an Air Force auxiliary.
Okay.
Got into that as a kid at 12 years old, stayed into that. I stayed in it literally until 3 years ago. And I became
with a lot of people of color, and it doesn't strike me as something we would have a lot of opportunity to participate in.
They're actually, man, I gotta tell you, they're a lot more than you think, but very little. Let me say it like that. Yeah, there's not a lot, but more than you
think. You often found yourself in spaces where you were one of one, looking around the room.
Often
like Montgomery, Alabama, Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean, my parents sent me skiing at 13.
Oh, wow.
You get up there and you're on the mountain, and they didn't go. They sent us with the church, our youth group, which was all Black kids. But I got up there, and I'm on a mountaintop. I could ski pretty well, and so I ended up skiing alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of those experiences. I look back and like, man, I'm the only one. My whole life, I've been the only one. I got into theater in high school. I was a sound designer and I built the sets. And the music I listened to, the people I was around, everything.
Yep.
Flying. When I get out of an airplane right now, I'm the only one. Um, hey, there was one special day though where I landed in Bessemer, Alabama, and I saw not one, not two, but three black pilots at the
Wow.
airport. We took a
Wow.
picture together. Like we were, it was amazing, and and here's the thing, we all owned our airplanes.
Wow. Yeah.
That
Wow.
was like, that was crazy,
Yeah, that's amazing. Like you unpack that, like not only was there three pilots, black pilots, but owners of planes. Like,
Absolutely.
where I grew up, the idea of a black person owning a plane didn't even cross my mind as possible.
Really.
So, let alone flying. I mean, I took my first flight, later in life. So it's interesting. So I'm glad to see that, so you've got this foundational belief system and all these experiences. So then did you end up going to college anywhere? What happened next?
Yeah. I went to UAB, became a cheerleader. I got a scholarship as a cheerleader. And then UAB didn't serve me very well because I didn't know I was an entrepreneur, fully. Now I look back and I realized my parents were entrepreneurs. And I kind of look forward. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to be in college and then get a job, and you know what I mean. So I ended up I left UAB, went to the military, came back from the military, went to Lawson State Community College. It was actually an HBCU. Um, changed my life. Changed my life. So I went there to learn
How about
IT,
it?
and my associate's degree is actually in business education. Don't just disregard that. I went there to learn IT, and mainly because I had already gotten a little bit later in life. I'm in my early 20s. I got married already, and I was like, I need to make some real money.
Okay.
So I learned IT within 6 months. I went from earning 13 an hour to earning like 35 an hour, and then from 35 to 50, 50 to 75, and just kind of crept up from there. So I'm a huge fan of community college. It's powerful, man. If you're trying to focus and move quickly, there's nothing better than that. But
Certainly
yeah,
helps. You
definitely
don't want to
college.
be straddled with the debt that comes along with some of the larger institutions, for sure.
Yeah, no debt, great income, and yeah, I did that. Did that proudly, and I recommend it. I have a 16-year-old. He's in college full time at a community college.
Okay.
We homeschool, so we're like, you might as well go ahead and start early, bud, and
Wow.
enjoy
So,
your life earlier than most. Yeah.
so after that, let's talk about your companies, the Blue
Mhm.
Gyro, the Foundation and Institute. So
Mhm.
what's the impetus? What, that got you to launch them? Like, what was the sort of the plan in the beginning, so forth?
All right. So the deal was, I wanted to get into defense for stability. I wanted to have a company that had some guaranteed income and some scalability without having to rely on the consumer market. So I started looking at defense. Basically, I got in right time, right place, and some divine intervention, and started winning contracts. Um, the Blue Gyro was an IT company, but like I said, I could not find that scalability and the stability. So yeah, I
Okay.
got into defense, winning contracts, and over a few years, I decided that I wanted to have a foundation because a lot of people had them.
Mhm.
Really curious about doing that, and I started it legally, filed the 501(c)(3) papers myself, did all that jazz, and then one day I got a call, and this company, a huge company, they were like, "Hey, we want you to look at doing some work with us on a federal contract, training foreign pilots and mechanics." I was like, "All right, cool. What do I need to do?" They were like, "Well, you need to pretty much buy a school." And it's like, what? They're like, yeah, we want you to buy this school. And anyhow, I went through that, and that turned out to be a bad deal. My CFO was like, hey, just build your own. And so it's like perfect timing because I already had a nonprofit. It's fully, it's credible, it's legal,
Mhm.
had some money in it. I was like, all right, cool. I'll build a school, make it a nonprofit. Let's go have some fun. Turns out schools are extremely hard to build and extremely expensive to build.
Yes.
So yes, I have a nonprofit. I am going to beg. I am begging every day for the money because I've been paying out of pocket. And let's just say it hurts.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah,
I mean,
so I
what's the mission of the foundation? Like, what's in the
all
school?
right. So the mission of the foundation is to normalize the idea of aviation, of
Mm-hmm.
aerospace for people who don't see it as normal. So when you walk into, you can pick a room, you can pick a room anywhere in this world, and aviation won't be a normal idea,
Correct.
period.
Correct.
Yet we have massive pilot shortage, massive mechanic shortage, and those are like just two they talk about. But we have leadership shortages, we have engineering shortages, we have, software development shortages, we have front desk shortages. There are shortages all across the industry, but not because of just pilots and mechanics. It's because it's not normal. But if I can be real with you, it wasn't supposed to be normal.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna leave it like I'm gonna leave it
No, you
like
don't have to.
that.
On this show, we got to unpack that. So I was
Let's
just
unpack
checking
it.
out some of the data, man. We were, the shortage, if there's a shortage of pilots, then that means there's an extreme shortage of opportunities for people of color.
Yes.
If there's a shortage of engineers, the same thing. Flight engineers, whatever engineers, and leadership. So you're trying to, part of the byproduct of what you're doing is will hopefully attack and tackle that truth. But how do we introduce a community of people that were not meant to be a part of something to something, and then give us the trust and faith that we have a chance to succeed and fail just like our white counterparts?
So that's why the foundation was created. That's how we evolved, really, was with that focus. So let's normalize aviation. And
Hmm.
the question was, how do we do it? Well, everybody's not going to be a pilot.
Correct.
Everybody's not going to be a mechanic. So how do we do it? And I hired this lady named Sephora Faulkner. Just brilliant lady, been in higher education, had her own business and everything, and hired her as the ED for the foundation. And she comes with this idea called Breaking Barriers, and it's a book program. And I'm kind of skeptical because I'm a dude, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I'm like, it's not macho enough, and it's not exciting enough. However, we found out that if you cannot teach people that are underserved, and that's pretty much women and minorities, pretty
Mhm.
much, but also there are some majority males that we are now finding. If you look at economics, they're creeping closer towards the lower side of our socioeconomic bracket. You know what I mean? So underserved is growing, and she starts this book program. And once again, I'm skeptical, but next thing you know, it's catching on because you got to get kids really early. You
Mhm.
gotta, you gotta, you have to let them imagine early, and they will not imagine what they do not see. So, I mean, imagination works off of some basis, some
Yep.
picture, some
Mhm.
sound. You know what I mean? Some word, and if you can put it in there early, they can start to imagine it. Moving past imagination, the book program is It's all books written by pilots or aviation people that are sharing their stories,
Mhm.
and all that stuff
That's fantastic.
is it's all available to these kids to listen to through reading programs and all that. And actually starting to grow now. So a school system has approached and said, "Hey, we want this in our school system because we need it to be normal. We need folks to
Yeah.
know it's an option." But it's just kind of growing. And there's one other thing that the foundation does, which is everybody talks about taking kids on flights, which is important. It's
Mhm.
exciting. But we were like, where are we taking them? Fly around in circles?
Yeah.
They're going to do enough of that as adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's take them to their first college visit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Wow.
it just hit. And so, yeah, let's take them to their first college visit. So we have an event coming up with a Jack and Jill chapter out of Houston. Where we'll be sharing that in April. And, and just imagine if you could fly to four colleges, three, four colleges in a day.
Yeah.
Imagine if that week that you spend on a bus and you saw five colleges, with us, you're seeing triple, maybe in that week. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
powerful, man. It's powerful. proud.
And the message that it sends about the possibilities. I mean, it's less than a notion to be stunting on a jet, you know what I mean, on a plane or a plane ride somewhere. So, just starting off college that way, I could see the value in it. And one of the things that we say around here is it's no longer good enough for us to take our children to water, nor is it good enough for us to make them drink. We have to make them thirsty. And I feel like your program allows us to do that. So what
Yeah.
age groups, how do people get involved with the program, the opportunity to
Uh,
be a part of the school, et cetera?
so we're very different. We start at kindergarten, first grade, but our focus, one of our major focal points is workforce age. You got to show the kids, yes, but this is what rolls into the college. We can show you and expose you, but if we cannot create a career path, we're just another false hope.
Yeah.
So we decided, hey, let's open the college, let's make it a part of that track. And so we want people that are workforce age to be a part as well. So the foundation literally serves anybody of any age. Um, the college is workforce age, so 18 to like 60.
Mhm.
But we actually now, because of this such a need to expose people, we're now we'll start people in 10th grade. They could dual enroll in the college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you looking to expand beyond your current location, and speaking of that, where are you currently located with the school and the
First
foundation?
location opens in Alabama this year, and then we've already started getting calls and requests,
Yeah.
about other places. There's two main reasons though. Number one, we move at the speed of business, so we're not a public school. We're private, and we can do whatever we want to do. And one of the things we decided to do when we figured out we could do whatever we want to do is we cut tuition in half. Whatever the national average is, we just cut it in
Mhm.
half. So let's make it affordable. Let's make it something that there's no debt walking out, so you
Yeah.
can actually make money and go be a productive citizen, start a business, start a podcast, because you're not stressed out about what you're going to do next.
So you expose people to the opportunities in the industry beyond being a pilot, because
Oh
like
yeah.
everyone can't be a pilot. And there's so many other places to play a significant role in this space. When they leave your school, do they leave with a certification? Do they leave with something like a certificate of achievement? Like what do you walk away with to go to somewhere and say, I want a job, and here's how I can do the work?
Yeah, so you're going to leave with a license to make money. So that's either a mechanic, and the pilot, it's whatever. You're going to leave with a license. That's what's important. So go make money. We have been asked to introduce some other programs after we fully open the doors, and one of those is an aerospace engineering certificate,
Mhm.
and that is based on a piece of software that is used to design aerospace products.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that, and then man, I'll tell you, it's getting really interesting. We have now, all right, this is going to blow your mind. If you take the aviation industry and look at where minorities are in that,
Mhm.
switch to the maritime industry and look at where minorities are in that. Name me one black ship captain that you know.
You say, I'll wait. I mean, how much? Yeah,
I don't know one.
it
You know what I mean? So man, we're starting to get some interesting questions
yeah.
because the infrastructure is fantastic. We're good there, and people are starting to say, "What else can we put in?" Because
Mhm.
there are other problems, and I'm pretty excited, man. I'm pretty
Yeah.
excited. There are a lot of industries that have global effect, and yet we're never ever looked at ever. You know what I mean?
Well, how do you educate a community of people who have learned through lived experience and natural distrust of things like this? Not to mention, when I hear aerospace, I think highbrow academic. I think math. I think science.
Mhm,
While we've done a yeoman's effort of trying to introduce our community to STEM programming, it's still a
mhm.
challenge. How do you educate people to help drive that interest?
So that question, you really can't educate people. So you're having to find people groups within the people. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And age groups within the people, and certain demographics that live in a certain region within a people group. You know what I mean? So when you ask how do you educate them, it's more of a question of focusing on educating a particular group in a particular place first,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of growing it from there. But the main thing you have to do is you have to expose them
Yeah.
to it, and not in a let's take a field trip form. Let me give you the whole picture.
So it's more than
Yes,
just we learned about the Tuskegee Airmen. We need more than that. It's more than just
that wasn't a business. That wasn't a real career opportunity.
right.
That was a haphazard attempt by the government to try to fill in the gaps with black bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go deeper? I don't really want to, but I
Wow.
can.
I
I
mean,
mean,
listen, the word is a little provocative, haphazard, when you're talking about like the stalwarts in our history books. When we think of greatness and excellence, in the aviation from Black folk, we think Tuskegee Airmen. And your point is something I've never thought about. It's not a business. Very few of them, if any, I'm aware of, left there and became pilots in airlines or became, captains of. I mean, I'm
they
sure.
weren't allowed to be.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of Saturdays in Tuskegee, Alabama, with a lot of these retired
Wow.
generals and colonels. I knew them personally. They
Wow.
were phenomenal aviators, yes, but they were left with nothing after the war. That's
Wow.
why I call it haphazard attempt. So the government needed black bodies. Great. They needed talent. They didn't want to call it talent, but it was talent. Phenomenal. The best
The
talent.
best.
There was a study that came out recently from a department of the government that said the best prospect for a pilot in America is a black athlete. Now, why is it not published? Come on. I mean,
I mean, it's set
we
against
know why.
the backdrop of Elon Musk talking about not wanting our HBCU students to participate in programs because they're undereducated.
You know what? I'm gonna be real with you. There are very few well-educated people coming out of any college. I'm serious. I've tried to hire them.
Yeah,
You look around. Educated now is it's a situation of I need to expose you. I need to help you build a healthy perspective about what you're going to do. And that means you got to see more stuff. You got to touch more stuff. You got to go more places. So if you look at what made the Tuskegee Airmen so special as individuals, is they got to see Italy, France,
right.
Britain, Germany, North Africa. They got to see other parts of the country. They developed perspective. They learned things they would never have learned just going to Tuskegee, which almost none of them went to Tuskegee University.
Right,
But
right.
where they came from, they they learned more flying than they did not flying. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
Um, and when I say that we have to, education is it's very different. It's a spectrum. People need to see more, do more, feel more than just I went to college and now I'm valid. You're not valid. The world moves too fast. What you learned from
That
a book
social
4
learning
years
has to
ago,
continue. Yeah.
yeah, you got to keep learning.
So as we move beyond that, and we've gotten to this world or today where, I will admit, walking through airports, I do see more people of color around airports, and I
Mhm.
see, both on the tarmac, in the terminal, and on the plane.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
still nothing like what we want to see. And since it's Women's History Month, I certainly see a dearth of women in positions of leadership throughout the industry as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's something that I hope that your organization can continue to help us to attack and target and hopefully address. Before we close out, let's talk about how people can get more information. If someone or someone in the audience wants to support you, how can they find you? What's the best path?
All right. So uh, on the nonprofit side, there's two websites, bluegyrofoundation.org and gyrainstitute.com. So bluegyrofoundation.org, it's a weird spelling, but BLUEJIREH foundation.org. And the school is JIREH institute.com. So that's the two best ways to get in touch. I can take direct messages that people might send to you on the podcast,
Okay.
and or that you can allow them to reach out to me directly if you want to. I'm not going to say my number on the podcast, but
I
um,
wouldn't let you. But
yeah.
what's the origin of gyro before we get out of here?
Oh man, I mean, if you know, you know, but if you don't know, you don't know.
And we don't keep secrets on equity and focus, brother. What's the origin?
So Jireh is a Hebrew word for provider. And with everything I've done and everything I want to do, I want it to be something that when people see it, they go, God had to be involved with that. That is huge. And it helps a lot of people. So, provider, God, I'm working on that level. That's I want our impact to be that big. I want, our reputation to be that big. When you talk about how we influence the industries we're going to touch, when we show up, I want people in industries and leadership and CEOs to go, that's Gyra Institute, that's Blue Gyra Foundation. Listen, whatever they need, just give it to them. Whatever we got to do it. Those people are doing something massive. We need to be a part of it, and that's my goal. So Gyra is it's Hebrew word for provider, but
I
we're
love
we're
it.
talking God level stuff, man.
I absolutely love it. I think what you do is fantastic. I hope that it continues to grow. I mean, me and Equity and Focus will always be here for you if you got more things that you want to unpack, you want to share. And as you get farther down, please reach out to us. Our audience will want to hear about it. So before we get out of here, you got 15 seconds. Leave them with one message that you want to make sure everybody knows about the importance of the work that you're doing.
All right, number one, it's for you. It's for your kids. It's for your friends. It's for everybody you know. It's available as possible. Number two, we decided we're opening a semi-professional basketball, golf, and soccer training facility to go with the school. So it's definitely for you. If you've been told sports is it, fine. But come get a license, make some money too.
I love it. Listen, thank you for joining us. This has been Equity in Focus. We are proud to be a part of the Rolling Out platform. And thank you, Randall Cottrell and Blue Gyro Foundation, for joining us.